Warning: the following contains explicit language and subject matter that may not be suitable for younger listeners, church folk, and people who enjoy kale smoothies.
Hey, so I'll let you back in, huh?
Hey, he throws us out for no reason. He lets us back for no reason. He can double for my second wife. DSB season has officially begun.
DSB?
Deadly sperm backup. See, you on-air guys never stick around long enough to feel its pain. It's excruciating.
Right, so that's not necessarily. I mean,
not
that's
to knock
good.
on them, just
right. That's a good. That's. I mean, it did come up in something that I was reading, like, you know, The Art of Charm came up, The Art of Manliness, but they said that The Art of Manliness isn't totally red pill. It's more about men bettering themselves.
Yeah,
they don't really go into that whole, you know, demeaning women or you know, putting women down. But
well, so why don't we do a little intro here so people know what the hell we're talking about?
Oh, are we talking?
We are talking.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's been a recording, but
oh shit,
we just didn't. Yeah. So welcome back to A Pod Amongst Men. I'm your host, Steve B. This is the show where we discuss all things about men and all dumb shit, and I might just cut that part out.
You probably should. What's your catchphrase?
Yeah, my catchphrase. This is the show.
This is the show where we talk about shit.
Yeah, where the lines don't matter and the rules are made up, and I don't know. I'm your host, Drew Carey. But I'm here. I don't know if you recognize a familiar voice. This is Will H. If you might know him from episode number 8.
I am back, bitches. Thank you for having me, Steve. It's
my pleasure, bro.
Always wonderful.
I asked for you specifically for this episode because I had a topic in mind and not a guest.
I do appreciate that.
So I needed somebody who's got a sharp mind.
Wow. That's a lot to put on my shoulders. But I think I can handle this. Hopefully.
So let's get right into it. The topic that I had in mind that I wanted to talk about today is something I keep seeing in my travels through the internet. You know, I have to do a lot on Instagram for the show, so I run across a lot of different groups. You know, depending on different hashtags, you kind of get a taste of what a lot of people are into. And one of the things I keep coming across is this term red pill.
Okay.
So red pill, for anybody who doesn't know, is it's an internet term. It's loosely based on the movie The Matrix.
Correct.
Based on the scene, you know, take the blue pill, take the red pill.
That's right. Let's see how far down this rabbit hole goes.
And the idea of the red pill being waking up to the uncomfortable truth of reality.
That's right.
You know?
Or you can just take that blue pill and go back to sleep and wake up believing whatever you believe.
Being willfully ignorant.
That is correct.
But what this is mainly aimed at is the whole idea, is the relationship between men and women, romance and dating and sex and all these things. It's meant to be that, you know, men have been lied to their whole lives, that what you learn in these movies and these romantic movies and these whole Disney princes and princesses is that, you know, men need to be chivalrous and they care for a woman and the woman is dependent on men. And obviously that's not the world we live in now.
Not at all.
And there's a lot of men that seem to be waking up to that reality and, you know, pushing back.
Correct.
Quite a bit. What have you found is your definition, like the way you would describe it to someone?
So just from, you know, obviously being around the internet, you know, it's definitely popped up. I've heard about it before, but basically what it boils down to is it seems like men who follow the red pill ideals and or ideology, as it were, they basically believe that women and the whole feminist movement is basically bringing about a downfall of masculinity. Mm-hmm. It's basically causing men to become more emasculated and taking a backseat to women, and that women are becoming, I guess, a higher power, as it were. And because of that, they are taking measures to basically try to circumvent that and try to make man the, powerful sex again.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to ignore the timing of all like the uptick and all this stuff. Everything kind of goes back to like 2015, 2016. Like that's when you really started to see a lot of divisions that were really already there,
Sure.
but just kind of became highlighted. And I think a lot of this is in response to political correctness and how a lot of people feel like it's being forced on them.
Right.
They don't agree with it. That political correctness is a whole nother conversation we can get into.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But what I'm finding a lot is that there's just right below the surface, sometimes not even below the surface, is there's this level of boiling rage.
Yeah.
Within a lot of men.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not something that just started, obviously.
No.
If you really look back, I feel like I've seen this my whole life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, definitely. I can agree with that.
I just feel like there's a lot of men who find themselves in a position now that they weren't properly prepared for. The world has changed so much in the last 2 decades.
Yeah.
Since 2000, think of how different things are right now.
Very different.
Socially, economically, technologically.
Yeah.
Everything. It's a completely different world. And a lot of the old ideas and ideals that were passed down to us from our fathers and our families kind of don't apply anymore.
Yeah, not at all.
So a lot of guys look around and it's like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this? Think about just in the last couple of years and what we're now in the post Me Too world.
Yeah.
The rules have changed.
Very much so.
I mean, if you think about the rules the social rules, the unspoken rules, quote unquote.
Yes.
If you think about the rules that our father's generation had, went by, that shit doesn't fly anymore.
No, not at all.
And then what you see now, this whole Me Too thing, is a backlash to that.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
It's women saying, like, this is not okay with us.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, if you look at it just on a face value, like Me Too, it's a good thing.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. It is a good thing.
I think what happens is that a lot of guys see that and they look at, those outlier cases where it's like, oh, this woman was lying about these allegations, or this woman, like the Asia Argento, she was one of the leaders of the movement and she ended up being guilty of the same shit, sleeping with an underage kid.
Of course.
So it's a lot of guys use that to try to delegitimize the greater movement.
Right, but you
can't. It's a cop out.
Yeah, it is.
You're not dealing with the essential issue at hand.
Yep.
They're just trying to circumvent. Oh, well, look at this. So she did that. So you guys are all full of shit. Like, that's not. You have to have the conversation. So what do you? For me, the reason I wanted to talk about this is because this whole show, A Pod Amongst Men, is geared towards building better men and raising the next generation of men to have the ideals that we talk about, that we think that we should have, that maybe we're struggling with because we were, raised a different way, or we have this programming from the time we were born that we're fighting against.
Sure.
And the whole concept of this is to educate ourselves as men, and that way we're prepared to raise the next generation of men to live and embody those ideas.
Yeah.
So that's why I keep coming across this. There's all these hashtag masculinity, and half the shit they show you is like this red pill, like all these different red pill sites and red pill pages.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Yeah, and I
really
feel like
everywhere.
I can't get away from it, and I feel like that's more common than the positive side, which I'm going to do. Or maybe, I mean, that's the thing. Like, neither of us are part of that ideology.
No, not at all.
So it's kind of tough because I don't know. If anybody's listening that subscribes to this ideology, by all means, email me.
Want to hear about it?
Yeah, we want to hear from you because for me, the way I was raised, the way my mind works, I don't get it.
Yeah, neither do I.
What do you think is like describe some common traits that you've found in your journey through the internet?
Well, it seems like the main trait is that, or I don't want to say it's the main trait, but it seems like it's a common denominator, is that a lot of the men have been scorned one way or another in a relationship, whether it be, rejected, cheated on, dumped, so on and so forth. But obviously the common denominator seems to be relationship based, at least with this iteration of the red pill. Now, without going the far right side.
I've noticed that too. There's a lot of guys who, been, when you boil it down, there's guys who've been hurt.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're dealing with emotional trauma.
Yep.
And their reaction is to put up walls.
Yep.
Like, well, I'm never letting that happen to me again.
Right.
And it's a very human,
Sure. I mean,
human response. I've done that.
I've done it myself. If you've ever been hurt, it's kind of is a natural reaction, but it seems like the red pill movement kind of takes that reaction and kind of makes it 10 times worse.
Yeah. Well, let's pinpoint that for a sec.
Sure.
The whole heartbreak aspect.
Okay.
Because this is something I wanted to talk about too. Like, I feel like I haven't gotten a chance to really get into it.
Okay.
So I don't know what your dating history is like, but I know for me, myself,
Right.
I've had my share of heartbreak.
Mm-hmm.
I've told someone I love them. I've basically put myself out there.
Sure.
Been vulnerable, only to find out that the other person at the prospect of me putting myself out there, like, oh, well, maybe I'm not that serious myself.
Yeah.
And it's a shitty feeling.
Yeah.
Whether you're a man or a woman, it's a shitty feeling.
It is a shitty feeling.
Like, have you had a lot of experience with that?
I've actually really only dealt with one heartbreak. And that
Lucky
was
bastard.
Yeah. I dated a girl on and off throughout high school for I'm gonna say 6 to 7 years. And we would kind of go through on again, off again phases, and then we were in an on again phase, and she was 21, so I was basically her first everything, and she decided she was going to college. It was local, it wasn't like she went away to college, but she wanted to experience life. And at that time, I was I was only 22, but I was heartbroken because I didn't understand it. Even though we had gone through our on again, off again portions, I was finally ready to actually commit, because kind of when we were on those in-betweens, I was kind of doing whatever I wanted to do.
Doing your dirt.
Yeah. So, I wasn't too heartbroken on those, in between breakups, but it was just that one that kind of, that really got me.
Did you find, because one of the things that I found and that I actually had in common with a lot of the stories I've read from these gentlemen is that you feel like you did everything right. Like you did everything you were supposed to do, that you were taught, like, this is how you treat a woman. You're respectful. You show her love. You give her gifts. You do everything for her. And you get that feeling like none of it was appreciated. And all it did was make me more vulnerable to that eventual letdown.
I guess you could say that. I think it was also because I really was finally ready. I think that was the biggest thing. The showering with gifts and doing everything that I was supposed to do, that kind of happened all along. Now, granted, like I said, we were teenagers when we started, and, it was 21, 22 when we finished. So we kind of...
That'll happen.
That's weird.
It's like living in a train station.
Yeah, seriously.
Lights just go out randomly.
Spooky.
It's the ghost of girlfriend's past right there.
She's haunting me. I think it was just because I actually was finally able to put myself out there. I don't think I was really totally in it. We would date for a few months, 6 months, and then we would just take a break.
Like 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Yeah, kind of. And like I said, when the foot was out, the foot was really out. And then I finally put both feet in. And that was when, so for me, it was tough because I finally really kind of put myself out there. I didn't really do that much, but she was kind of my only real dating life at that point. So I didn't really know much else.
Well, I think that's also one of the things too, is a lot of the guys that I'm reading stuff from are young guys. And you got we're not old men yet.
Right.
But
I am, but it's fine.
There's a lot of experience in some of these years,
Yes.
And I look back at some of my old ex-girlfriends and some of my, relationships, and it's like, we were really young and we were fucking stupid.
Yeah, no,
we
absolutely.
were thoughtless. We were careless with each other's emotions and feelings. And one of the things that I found is that a lot of us don't realize when we're in those relationships, the power that we have over the other person.
Yeah.
So a lot of times people don't respect that power.
Right.
And it's, it's just used all willy-nilly and people get hurt emotionally. And the problem is that hurt doesn't just go away.
Right.
Like, you have to deal with it.
Yeah.
And I think that what this is, I don't want to say like a cowardly way out, but you're not dealing with that trauma that put you in this position.
Right.
You know, like you're putting up the walls so you don't have to face it. You don't have to go through that and feel that shittiness again.
Yeah.
Because it is shitty and it does hurt.
No, it definitely is.
And one of the things that I want people to do, or like, this is for guys, obviously. Like,
yeah.
You know, I'm not trying to tell other women and other whatever. Do they have Oprah? They have whatever they have. Like, this is for the guys.
There's another podcast. Find something. This is for you guys.
This is for us.
That's
like,
right.
We need to deal with this shit.
That's it.
You know, and you can expand on it too, because it's not just trauma from relationships. It could be trauma from family, trauma just from growing up.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, in life, maybe you went through some kind of abuse or something. You can't just bottle it up the way we were raised, the way the generations before us did.
Yeah, no.
Because that's when it explodes.
It does.
And
it
it
definitely
does. And the problem is, you got screwed over, but now you're making everybody else pay the price for what?
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
And that's why we need to take control of our lives. Like,
yeah, that's definitely key. I mean, I can honestly say that I am a little guilty of doing that, but I was also, and I mean, again, I'm guilty, plain and simple, you know, but I definitely didn't handle things properly after that. You know, I definitely walled myself up, and I became a habitual, I guess you would call it, it was kind of like a dater, to the point where I would just briefly date girls until they caught feelings, and then I would scram. You know, God forbid any girl ever told me that she loved me, I was gone immediately. So I'm definitely guilty now. This is obviously long before Red Pill. So I'm not too far removed from how these gentlemen are handling themselves. However, I wasn't doing it in a against women thing.
it seems kind of vengeful sometimes, right?
Yeah,
A lot of, I mean, just the way things are written and the way things are worded. It really feels vengeful. Like, a lot of guys have been hurt and they blame all women for that.
Exactly.
Because of the shittiness of one person.
Exactly. And that for me, that was never the case. It was just a matter of protecting myself and not letting myself, like I said, I was finally putting both feet in, and I got hurt.
Yeah.
So at the time, I mean, you know, the immature me wasn't ready for being hurt again, you know? And like I said, I can commiserate with some of these guys, but I never went that route.
Yeah.
You know, I would never say, oh, because she fucked me over, then all women are fucking bitches.
I see that.
Fuck them, you know?
Bro, I see that. I mean, I'm talking like just as recently as like last week.
Oh, yeah.
Like, guys at work, like I hear some guy talking, oh, you know, all women are bitches. Like, really? Like, there's no way you even believe that.
Tell your mom that, sir.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Tell your mom that. Tell your mom that all women are bitches.
But I wanted to say to the guy, I was like, bro, do you realize that the only common denominator there is you? You're saying all bitches in your experience.
Yep.
All women are bitches in your experience.
See, and that's what these guys don't get.
Yeah.
That's what they don't get. The common denominator is them.
Well, listen, let's go back to the beginning here. The source is that a lot of these guys weren't taught the right way.
Right.
You know, what they know, they're getting information from other people who don't fucking know.
Right.
And that's the problem.
It is. It very much is.
Yeah, so you're getting information about women from men.
Right. Blind leading the blind.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's, you know, it's tough too, because how do you get that information anyway? Like, you literally have to talk to women and deal with them and
that's exactly
get to know them. And, you know, it's not that easy.
No, it's not. So when we were I guess it was high school, or maybe even just out of high school, I always had a relatively easy time when it came to picking up girls. You know, it was just natural charisma, you know, like I was funny, you know, outgoing. And I had a friend who all the time, I mean, this is kind of along the lines of like him asking me to be a pickup artist. Like, he would always say like, how do you do it? He's like, I watch you when we go to parties, and like, you're just so, you know, girls are flocking to you. And I'm like, you just be yourself, dude. That's the thing that eludes most guys. They don't get it. He really wanted me. He literally wanted me to like, dude, let's go to a club and I just want to watch you. And I'm like, no, no, just go out there and just start talking to people, you know, and you're going to find maybe there are some girls that don't like you, and there might be some that do, but it's nothing that I can teach you.
Yeah.
You just have to be yourself.
Well, the trick is to be comfortable in your own skin.
It doesn't matter what you look like. You just have to be comfortable with yourself.
And that's a tall order for a lot of people.
That is very
You
true.
know, I mean, for others and for myself, I can be great in social situations if I'm having good energy that day.
You're awesome in social situations.
Or I could just be like, I'm gonna hang out back here, have my drink. I'll be
until
good.
Michael Jackson comes on, and that changes everything.
Yeah, then I don't know, man. I'm so conflicted about that nowadays. After finding Neverland, I feel bad. Like knowing all those dances from so many years and
No, that's okay.
all the music. It's like I don't look at it the same.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, but
Going back to word. Sorry.
anyway, not everybody's great in social situations, so I get that. Like some people just have a hard time, and myself personally, like growing up, I wasn't great with talking to girls. You know, I'm a perfect example of somebody who got very nervous but kept it inside. So you didn't really realize and understand like what is this guy doing?
Right.
Like he's just like, okay, all right, he's leaving. All right, see you later. Like, what the hell was that about? And it's people like, oh, why did you leave? Like that girl was into you. It's like I don't know. I got freaked out.
Oh.
Like that shit happens, man.
No, absolutely.
And it's not easy. It's not as easy as just walking up to a girl and say, hey, how you doing?
No.
You know, and that's where a lot of guys get hung up, and I think a lot of guys would agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? And it doesn't matter. You know, you could be ugly, you could be handsome, you could be anywhere in between. That's not the important thing. The important thing is to accept yourself for who you are. First of all,
Yep.
you have to like yourself.
Yes.
That's the big thing.
Confidence.
Confidence. But it's not
But not overly confident.
Yeah, it's not cockiness. It's
Exactly.
confidence. And confidence isn't going out there with your chest puffed out and all this bravado and all this bullshit. It's
Exactly.
literally just being comfortable in your own skin.
That's right.
It's walking into the room, and instead of saying, I hope they like me, you're saying, it's fine if they don't like, I'm me. Whether or not they like me doesn't affect who I am as a person.
Right, not at all.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
So it's not some friggin' magic coat of armor you have to put on. It's just fucking go hang out, man.
That's it. Just go hang out and, just talk.
Yeah.
Just talk. Be yourself. That's the main thing. Be yourself.
That's kind of now we're getting into the pickup artist aspect.
Yes.
The pua, as you might
Pua.
find it. Hashtag pua. There's a lot of guys who, you get to a point, I think, for some people where you almost get to a level of desperation where it's been a long time. These dry spells can stretch on. I know my longest one was for over a year.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was going to the gym. I was in good shape. Like I was legitimately at my peak of like physical attractiveness, and I had a good job and a place of my own. I was doing everything I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And the pieces wouldn't fit together.
Sometimes that happens, man.
And that's what I want to tell people. It's like, listen, there's no sure things. Like, even if you really are doing everything right,
Very true.
there's no sure shot.
There is no sure shot.
Like you have to be patient and you have to keep your chin up.
Definitely have to keep your chin up.
It just so happened that I went to a bachelor party in New Orleans and
there
I
you
met
go.
my future wife.
See that?
Yeah.
Just right place at the right time.
For anybody listening, I didn't meet her at like, she wasn't like a dancer at a club or anything like that. She was there for a bachelorette party too.
Yeah, it was just one of those lucky occurrences.
Yeah. But that's the point, is that it's like when you're looking for your keys, you're always in the last place you look.
Yep.
Which is kind of a process of elimination
Of
thing.
course. Just keep going.
You wouldn't really keep looking after you found them. So,
Yeah, exactly.
but
Yeah, that whole pickup artist thing is silly. I mean, going back to, I couldn't even tell you, what year that was, but they even had the show.
yeah,
Pickup
on
artist
VH1.
VH1. And that definitely, that had to have predated Red Pill. I don't think that
By
was,
a lot, yeah.
Yeah, so it's been around for a while, but I think
There's a lot of douchebags wearing furry vests and like Dr.
what was that
Seuss
guy's
hats.
name? Mystique?
Mystery.
That's right. It's that whole thing was just
That was bananas.
Yeah, preposterous. But I get where they were going with it, but then I guess the whole pickup artist thing kind of started to go wayward in the way that they're just now kind of teaching men to just go out there, find some piece of meat, as it were.
Yeah.
Fuck her, and that's it.
Well, yeah,
You have one vision in mind, and that's to go out, find the dime in that room, and bag her, and that's it. And then tell your friends about it, and just move on, and that's it. There was a book that a coworker of mine brought in because he was reading it, and it was The Game. It was actually by Neil Strauss, and he kind of joined the ranks of these pickup artists just to kind of learn the ways.
Be a fly on the wall.
Yeah, and it was, I kind of leafed through it and just read a couple passages about him trying these techniques out. And it's the ultimate level of douchebaggery.
It kind of
really is.
Yeah.
That's
It's right up there with giving yourself a nickname.
pretty much. Pretty much. It really is the penultimate of just being a complete asshole. Like, you're just going out there trying to nail some girl, and that's it.
Well, it just gets down to the point where you're trying to manipulate people.
Very much so.
Instead of having genuine interactions with another human being.
Yep.
You're not looking at these women as human beings. You're
Not
just
even.
looking at them, like you said, as a piece of meat.
It's a conquest.
Yeah.
You're trying to get the hottest girl out there, and it becomes a game. And
It's a very empty game.
Absolutely. And they thrive. They thrive in knowing that they've scored these ultimate pieces of ass.
The problem is that as men, like, just in our DNA, like, there is a level you can't help it. Like, oh man, like, this chick is beautiful, and
Sure.
she wants to come home with me. Like, of course you're gonna feel proud. Like, it's an accomplishment.
Absolutely.
Like, you actually, as a person, somebody wants to go home and see you naked.
Yeah.
That's a great feeling.
It sure is.
You should absolutely feel proud of that.
But
But what's the end game here? Like, listen, if it's two consenting adults and you both just want to go have a good time, great. I'm
Sure.
100% for it.
But if you're manipulating her to make that happen, if you're using your game to get that done.
If you're not being yourself, if she thinks she's, going home and, banging a dolphin trainer,
Exactly.
and really you just work at Subway.
Exactly.
That's where the dolphin trainer on.
I like that. But yeah, it's that aspect of it is crazy. And like I said, it probably started innocently enough back when that show was on. Like I said, it's been around for definitely a lot longer than Red Pill, but it's definitely gotten into a darker place now.
I feel like all the ideas surrounding that, like, it started off more about teaching guys that it's just mind over matter.
Exactly.
Instead of now, it's like, what are the techniques we can use to get these
because
girls?
If I remember correctly, a lot of the guys...
I went home with a solid 8.5 last night.
Yeah,
you know?
right?
Like, it's like you said, it's a game.
Yeah.
It's
I
all about
remember a
keeping
lot of the
score.
guys that went on that show definitely were not like, quote unquote alphas.
Yeah.
They were taking the betas. These are obviously terms that they use in Red Pill culture.
We're speaking the language.
Yes. So, we're trying to make this relevant. But they were taking basically the beta guys and teaching them ways to, pick up girls. And I think that part was innocent enough. But like I said, it's just gotten to be way too dark now.
Yeah. There's a term from a movie. It was an HBO movie that came out some years back. And Michael Keaton said it. And it's something
She
that...
touched my Pepe, Steve?
Well, that is Michael Keaton, but that's not the term.
I'm Batman.
But it's something that always stuck with me. Like, it was a movie about in the first Desert Storm,
Okay.
when they started bombing the city of Baghdad.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the reporters, this guy Robert Wiener, he was having a conversation with another reporter, and he was talking all these guys, all these correspondents that are here, overseas. They're all like away from wives, like they have no romantic relationships, and you encounter this thing called DSB, deadly sperm backup. And it's like, he was basically describing how it kind of poisons the mind of a man.
Yes.
And you get to a point where you almost stop thinking rationally.
Okay.
Like, your judgment becomes askew.
Sure.
Because after a while, the focus becomes like, I'm so horny, I don't know what to fucking do with myself.
Yeah.
And man, that hit home, because I look around and within these circles, I feel like this is an undiagnosed medical condition. Some people.
I think so, and I think it's
As a doctor, I can I can speak from a certain level of expertise on this.
that is medical terminology, right?
It is.
DSB. Okay.
I have a medical dictionary in the other room.
We should check this before.
You need a medical dictionary. The doctor has to come in and quote the patient. Do you know what that's from? No. It's from Seinfeld.
Oh, God.
Kramer was playing Scrabble, and he used the word quome.
Yes.
That's not a word.
I do remember that now.
Anyway, deadly sperm backup.
Yeah, I mean, all right. Yeah, I mean, that could definitely be part of it. I mean, it is kind of true. There is that feeling of, I don't want to say need to release, but I mean, there is that, like, but I mean, I've never been to that point.
It's not, yeah. I mean, I'm not talking about the average person.
Right, exactly.
You get horny and it's like, all right, well, I guess I'll just jerk off a fifth time today.
Exactly.
That's the way most people do it.
We take care of these things if we need to.
Which, there's a whole other conversation we could have.
Yeah.
We could speak on the advent of internet porn.
I hope I can come back for that one.
So how many times am I going to jerk off? I mean, all right, I'll do it again, but it's starting to hurt.
All right. Oh, the memories.
Yeah. But this is a problem, I think, and this is something now we get into the term incel.
Yes, incel.
Which is involuntarily celibate.
Yeah.
It's a term that kind of came to notoriety within the last few years. There was a guy in Canada who he drove his van into a group of people.
Yeah, in Toronto.
And he had a whole little video or manifesto kind of thing where he was an incel. He was a member of the incel community. And this is just guys. I mean, and I'm speaking now as just some asshole. Okay,
yeah,
I'm not
sure.
I'm not a doctor. I'm nobody important.
You were a doctor, but not anymore.
No, yeah. I mean, as a doctor, but what I think is just some of these guys are so pent up and they're so bottled up and they have no outlet for the sexual energy. And maybe some of these guys at one point, like, they genuinely just wanted someone to love. They wanted to feel love in return and feel that romance that they've seen their whole life on TV and in the media and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And time again, they've either been met with rejection or they've been, maybe they've been played.
Yep.
Maybe they've been, mistreated.
Sure.
All these things, this trauma, like we talked about before.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the problem is that you get to a point where you get so pent up where it's like you become your own worst enemy now. Now you're stepping on your own feet. You're getting in your own way. And you're making it harder instead of just being able to take a step back and breathe and, evaluate the situation from, an outside perspective.
Yeah. I think a lot of these people are too, I don't want to use immature, but I think they can't see past that.
Mm-hmm.
They can't get out of their own way. They get stuck in that feeling of
hopelessness.
Exactly. And they just go into a downward spiral and they just keep going further and further down until there's really no way out.
Well, this is a topic. I've been reading this book by this author, Mark Green. Shout out to Mark Green.
Mark Green.
He started following me on Instagram, so I was pretty happy about that. But he had this book. It's a nice and short read. It's small. It's called The Little Me Too Book for Men. Okay. Simple. Buy it on Amazon. It's very, very, very reasonably priced. But he talked a lot about a lot of the issues that men face today.
Okay.
I think men are facing historic levels of isolation. Maybe a lot of that has to do with social media or the way society is now and how it's changed. But the problem with this isolation is that you encounter all these problems. You encounter this. That's how this ideology blossoms.
Yeah.
Men have nothing but the internet and these small communities, which kind of are on the fringes.
Yeah, they are on the
or
fringes.
Sometimes kind of working their way towards the center,
the
mainstream. But this isolation, leads to depression. It leads to, we have like epidemic levels of suicide now.
It's crazy.
Divorce, all the now violence.
Yeah.
And you have these mass shootings. Like, the problem, it's not about, whether you're white or black or whether you're Muslim or whether you're Jewish or anything.
Yeah.
It's really, you have a lot of men who are just so isolated that they become easy targets to become radicalized.
Very much so.
Yep, it's in that isolation that you stop looking at things in a clear mindset.
Yeah.
Like, what? I don't know. What do you think? Like, because being lonely, it fucks with you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it does seem like the people who do these things recently with these mass shootings and they do tend to fall into that loner type of, persona.
The quote unquote lone wolf.
Yes,
thing.
the lone wolf. I mean,
yeah. The problem is that you can only have so many lone wolves before it becomes a pack.
Right, exactly. But I mean, even even if you look at just historically, you know, all of these people, the mass shootings and, you know, Timothy McVeigh, they were all,
That's going back now.
but I mean, saying even going back to Columbine,
Yeah.
look at those two, you know, they were not like
Social butterflies.
exactly, you
It's
know,
the
and
isolation that they all have in common.
very much so, actually.
Yeah.
Now that you really think about it, it's
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you look at a case-by-case basis, that seems to be the one common factor.
yep, isolation.
I mean, yeah, most of these guys tend to be white males. Can't really ignore that.
Yeah,
Although
no,
I think that's more of a correlation.
it could be a correlation.
I don't know. I mean, it
Yeah.
could be. It might not be.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
it's
it's hard. It's hard.
it's
to
hard to
overlook.
ignore. Yeah, it's definitely
It's
hard,
hard
to
to
ignore
ignore.
that.
But what I'm focusing on is that isolation.
Yes,
Because
that is key.
that isolation knows no race, no gender. Well, not gender, but isolation can affect anybody.
Absolutely.
You know, you have a lot of guys who just maybe you're a little socially awkward, maybe you're a little shy.
Sure.
You tend to go inward.
Yes.
You know, you live in your own little place. You know, well, I have social media. I'll have my friends on, you know, my gaming community, whatever.
Yeah.
We're going to play Apex Legends. We're going to do all this. But at the end of the day, it's just you and the four walls.
Yep.
You know, a social media friend can never take the place of a friend sitting across the table from you,
No, absolutely.
sharing a
not.
cup of coffee or beer.
Yeah,
Or-
right.
What are you drinking coffee,
I'm
right?
drinking coffee.
There you go.
So are you.
There you go.
Had two men drinking coffee.
What happens?
That's right.
All we need is Jerry Seinfeld in
I was
an
gonna
old
say.
car.
Where's the car? And let's go. Let's do this.
But yeah, man, like I'm trying to really push that to, you know, anybody who follows me on social media, anybody who listens to the show. It's that isolation. It's in that isolation that the danger lies.
Yeah. No, I totally agree
It's
with
that danger of becoming radicalized. And a lot of people don't realize, well, they don't even realize it even past the time when it's too late.
Right.
Like, you get locked into this bubble,
Right.
you know?
And I mean, you know, like you said, with the, you know, they're making friends with, you know, people in maybe gaming communities, or just take that even further. You know, you're hanging out on Reddit with just a bunch of anonymous fucktards who are telling you, you know, all kinds of crazy shit, or 4chan. You know, they're in these places where the people that they're hanging around with aren't exactly, you know, they're all lunatics.
Well,
Here's
here's the thing: is because when you're hanging out with these people online,
yeah,
that level of separation, when
you
you're,
could
you're behind a keyboard,
right, exactly, and
you could say anything, do anything
you want.
and there's most of the time for a lot of these people, there's no real life consequences.
Anything you
so
want.
there's no filters.
Dude, I can honestly say that just as an example of this shit that goes on the internet. I've happened upon 4chan. I don't know if you've ever been on 4chan.
I haven't ventured that far yet.
So
I'm afraid to.
You don't want to
It's
go.
going to hurt my heart.
You don't want to go on 4chan. Yeah, but I mean, there were threads. It's basically kind of like a message board, but everything disappears. There's like a time limit on everything, and then it disappears. So, I mean, there were instances where people were saying, "I'm gonna kill myself," and then these people are just egging them on. Yeah, go ahead, do it. Post a video. Come on, let's see you do it. And I mean, I know I didn't see any, but I know that I've read of instances where people actually did it because they were egged on. You know, and these are the people that they're making friends with. You know, and
You're making friends with the most extreme version of these people's selves.
right, exactly.
It's scary, man. Like, I mean, I just watched a documentary on HBO. It was about a girl who had a boyfriend, and they were kind of like a long distance relationship, even though they were only a few towns apart. And the boy happened to be, he was already kind of suicidal.
Right.
And the girl had a lot of emotional issues that, you know, they were only young. They were like high school kids. And the boy kept saying, "Oh, I think I'm going to kill myself." And, you know, at first she was saying, "No, you know, you don't do it." But then it got to the point where she was saying,
Yeah.
you know, she was like, "Well, how do you want to do it? You know, maybe you should do it this day."
Yeah.
And it shifted, and now she was helping him find ways to kill himself.
Yeah, exactly.
And she legitimately got brought up on charges, and she went to trial, and she lost. But the documentary was good. It's called "I Love You, Now Die."
Yeah, I don't think I haven't seen the documentary, but I'm familiar with the case.
It's fucked up, man.
Very fucked up.
But the documentary, I think, did a good job. It set it up. It framed it in this whole thing. It's like, oh my God, this girl is fucking evil.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden you start to see the rest of the picture. And I'd be honest, at the end I was like, I mean, I'm not saying she was a good person or she did a good thing or anything like that. What I'm saying is that it's complicated because you can't say that it was her fault that this kid killed himself.
Right.
But she had all these opportunities to try to tell him not to.
Exactly.
Try to turn him away from that.
Exactly.
And she didn't take those opportunities.
Yeah, which is sad. I mean,
now this poor kid lost his life.
Yep.
But yeah, man, making friends on the internet can be a dangerous thing.
It can be,
especially when you move in those circles.
And that's exactly where this whole with the red pill thing, with the Reddit and other websites that have red pill, message boards and stuff. These guys who are looking for advice, brotherhood, because they got hurt, and they're finding these other guys who basically are downplaying, or putting down women, and it just becomes a whole big thing.
It's like so one of the things that I've read a lot with the red pill thing, and I find a lot of guys that are into this side of it really toe the line sometimes, where it's more about male empowerment. Like, you're a man, be a man, better yourself, be strong, be all these things, all this like stoicism and all these different ideologies, and not all of them are bad. I mean, I'm not saying any of that.
Right, not at all.
But the problem is that it gets to a point where, you have a lot of these guys saying, being a victim is a bad thing. You don't want to make yourself out to be a victim. Take ownership of your life and your actions.
Right.
If something's going wrong, well, you need to look at what you're doing. How can you change to make things better instead of blaming all these other outside forces?
Sure.
But the problem now with the red pill stuff that I find is that they go from telling people not to be a victim to now all of a sudden they're saying, oh, well, my problems are that, women are hypergamous. Hypergamy is another term you see a lot. It's women wanting to marry upwards.
Right, exactly.
Socially, want to marry someone of a higher status, so to speak, someone that can provide. And men act like, oh, well, women are only going to go for the guy who's got more money and, a faster car than me.
That's exactly what a lot of the red pill stuff. I found.
But my point is that a lot of these guys now, they go from telling other people not to be victims to now they themselves are claiming to be victims.
Right, exactly.
It's like you're doing exactly what you said other people shouldn't do, and they don't realize it. They're too locked into this whole world to really see what they're doing.
Right. It's just it really is silly. It really is silly. I mean, I was telling you before, but I found a couple of podcasts, just trying to listen to a little bit of the perspective, to try to see what these men really, are thinking about. And I mean, it really is, this one podcast. I mean, just an example, I'm not going to name the podcast name, but, you're scrolling through the episodes, and here's a good example. How to make her willfully submit through training, rewards, and punishment. Vetting women. How to screen out women who will waste your time and cheat on you. And that's the whole philosophy of these red pill guys, is that women are just out to hurt them. And that you should obviously, I mean, and again, the bettering yourself, I mean, maybe not so much like the necessarily having to go to the gym and become super ripped, but, bettering yourself is great. But bettering yourself just so that you can get one over on women, because women are going to get one over on you if you don't, that's it's crap.
You're just being vengeful.
It really, seriously.
And you're not helping yourself. You're not putting yourself in a situation where you could find happiness.
Right, not at all.
All you're doing is trying to get back at an entire gender of people because
and then
you
what's
hurt.
the end game? What's the end game?
There is no end game.
Exactly. It's just going to keep going. It's just going to be a continuous thing. Yeah. You're just going to keep vengefully going after these women, and then scoring and fucking them, and that's it. And then
now you get into the, like we mentioned before, the MGTOW.
Right.
Men going their own way.
That's right.
It's these guys that, they're done with the idea of of relationships with females. Like, we're just going to do our thing as men. Right. We're going to stay in here and smoke Fuck cigars women. And make things out of wood. I don't know.
Is that what they do?
I don't know. It's just something
just whittling wood, whistling.
Stereotypically manly, But that's what it gets to the point where, like, well, you're just setting yourself up to be disappointed for the rest of your life.
Right, exactly.
Like,
so
you
you're just
can't-
swearing off women. That's it.
That's what it is, essentially.
Exactly, just swearing off women because women are they're gonna get you.
All women are gonna hurt
They're
me.
gonna get you. That's it.
I'm
Let's just, that's it. Fuck them. That's it. We're done. No women.
Yeah. Boy, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Exactly. When are they gonna wake up? I mean, seriously.
I don't know, man. I mean, the idea of a sausage party must not sound too unappealing to some people.
It must not. So then,
Well,
maybe that's the next level.
you think that's the next level?
Maybe.
Bro, I'm such a man, I only suck dick.
I mean, hey, that could be the end game.
Oh, I don't know.
It goes completely to the point of just
I think
going from, you know, being heartbroken to hating women to fucking over women to swearing off women to just fucking men. That's it. That's the end game here.
It's like that
I think we
scene-
solved it.
It's like that scene in
That is the
40-Year-Old
rabbit
Virgin.
hole.
This is like the first of like 4 conversations that lead to you being gay. You know?
That's what's at the end of the rabbit hole,
Oh,
apparently.
man. Well, listen. I mean, I feel like these days nothing would surprise me.
No, me neither.
You know, the world has become so much stranger than fiction.
It really has. It really has. It's man, it's crazy. It really is crazy.
If this starts happening, you heard it here first, people.
That's right. We definitely came up with this first, and we are prognosticators of what's going to happen with red pills.
Yeah. So it's like the idea of swearing off women to avoid getting hurt. It just seems like cutting off your nose to spite your face.
Basically, yeah.
You know. So
I mean, you're missing out on so much because you're afraid to get hurt.
well, here and the problem is that there's a lot of guys who might even have legit grievances.
Sure.
Like, I mean, the red pill thing isn't just limited to romance, you know?
Right.
There's obviously a lot of guys who, like, are advocates for fathers' rights. There's a lot of
Right.
custody. When you get into divorce, there's a lot of legal battles for custody of kids and stuff.
Right. And of course,
Which everybody knows somebody who's been through some kind of nasty legal battle,
absolutely.
you know, especially involving custody of kids.
Right.
And a lot of times it does seem pretty unfair towards fathers. So not all these things are without value,
No,
you know.
that is true.
I would like to just kind of cherry pick the things that I think are a little ridiculous.
Right.
So
Well, like I said, there are podcasts or groups that I've, followed that have some of the ideas that, that red pill preaches, like I said, bettering yourself. But then they throw in stuff like being a better father, being a better husband, it's stuff like that. Like I said, with the health aspect, I mean, you don't have to be a bodybuilder, but as a man, take care of yourself, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
it's just common sense.
Right. Exactly. I
Like,
mean,
you only have one body and you're probably going to need it.
yeah, I mean, I'm kind of, like I said, I'm 40 now, and I kind of let myself go a little bit, but I'm in the process.
No,
of,
listen, like you said, not everybody's going to be fucking, Ryan Reynolds at
right,
the gym,
exactly.
Exactly. 0.2% body fat.
No,
It's not realistic.
no, but
you
I
know?
mean, take care of yourself because
at least make an effort to
right,
live a somewhat healthy
and
lifestyle.
maybe then you'll get the results that you're looking for.
Yeah.
If you don't love yourself enough to take care of yourself, women might not love you.
Well, you said it right there. You hit the nail on the head. If you don't love yourself enough to take
Exactly.
care of yourself,
Exactly.
it goes back to being comfortable with yourself.
Yep.
That's that confidence. You have to love yourself. You have to accept who you are. You have to accept the good with the bad, and at least make some kind of an effort to be a good person.
Right.
No one's saying you have to fucking bow down to everybody and be this bleeding heart. And
No.
like, you could be like, there's nothing wrong with being a strong masculine male.
No, and there's nothing wrong with being sensitive. There's nothing
Exactly.
wrong.
There's-
That doesn't make you weak.
But exactly, that's the idea. Being a man is not limited to this box of things.
Exactly.
To quote the author Mark Green again, the man box is all the things that we say are, as a man, you can only be this, you can only be strong, you can only show this emotion, you can only be angry, you can't show any kind of vulnerability because that's weakness and that's going to be exploited. You can't be caring or empathetic because those are feminine values, and everything feminine is lesser than. Like, as a man, you need to be strong. You can only do this. This is the box. This is
Right.
the man box. You can only be these things. Okay? And that idea, that man box culture, has led to so many problems in society. And it's not to say that the world now is some terrible place. You know, obviously, statistically speaking, the world now is a better place. But the idea is that our ideas of manhood and masculinity come from a world that's not really here anymore.
Right.
Like you said, in the last few decades, society has gone through so many changes that those old ideas just don't apply.
No, they don't.
And there's a lot of people who aren't making the effort to evolve their ideas about this. So they're stuck in that old way, and it's creating all this friction because it doesn't fit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
So
I mean, a lot of that could be at home. You know,
most of it is at home, I think.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, a lot of the, I mean, I know just from my standpoint, that's not, my upbringing wasn't like that at all. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure that there are guys out there whose fathers still demand the dinners on the table when they get home, and the wives don't work, and the wives take care of the son. They take care of their sons, and that's just what they do. And then that translates.
Here's the thing. Going. It's not even that obvious.
Right.
Like, just think about in your head. Okay, for example, you're going out to the store. Okay, you need to get a new shirt. You're going out, somebody's birthday, you're going out to the bar. I need a new shirt. Oh, I like this one. It's purple. I don't really want to wear that. It's that little voice in your head that's telling you, they're going to make fun of you. They're going to call you a fag for wearing that shirt. You know what I mean? It's that idea that the culture, it like almost like brutally beats us into this idea that we have to police each other.
Right.
That we have to call each other out for being less of a man.
Right.
Because we do these things that aren't typically considered masculine.
Right.
And some of it's fucking stupid.
Yeah, sure.
Like I've referenced this on the show before. Like Bill Burr had a whole bit about, like, as a man, you can't do that. Anything that's like smart or might make you a better person. Like, they think maybe, just maybe, you might want to suck a dick.
Exactly.
Look at him, he's got an umbrella. What a fag. Like, it's dumb.
It's dumb, but
it's real.
It is real.
And every guy, and I'm gonna make a bold statement.
Sure.
If there's a guy out there who says, "Oh, I don't get that voice in my head, like that doesn't happen," you're full of shit, because we all do it, because it's been programmed into us from the time we were born.
Right.
Whether you realize it or not, it's there.
Right.
It's the way we interact with each other as men.
Right.
It's that culture. And
yeah, I mean, well,
it's there.
It is, but you know what? To be fair, I mean, I know you said I'm full of shit, but I don't think about that shit at all.
Well, no, I mean, my point is that now we're older. We're
more, okay. So okay, I guess you could use it, because I'll give you, dude. I have a couple of purple t-shirts. I have no problem wearing purple. No problem wearing pink. I mean, whatever I'm comfortable in, and I wear, them to work sometimes. And there are certain people at work who will, rip me an asshole. Oh, look at this fag. He's wearing purple. But I don't. It doesn't.
Oh yeah, it's dumb stuff. Like, what kind of music is this?
Doesn't even.
What do you listen to? Pat Benatar? Come on.
It doesn't even faze me. But it could be because I'm, beyond that.
But here's the thing. Like, we're now.
But you're right. Thinking back,
we're
when
older,
I was younger,
we're married men, we have our own lives.
Exactly.
When you're young, when you're maybe in your teens, when you're young 20s, like, the shit that your peers say, it matters, and it affects you.
You're right.
So, and think about it, like the whole idea, like, man up.
Yeah, man up.
Just fucking man up. Like, that's your solution.
Yep.
To all these problems. Like, you think people suffering from depression, that's not a real thing, and it's like, oh, it's just mind over matter. You just don't want to get back. Like, there's actual legit
it's
problems,
real.
And you can't just solve it by saying man up.
Nope.
By just tough it out, suck it up.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work. They don't understand.
It's a Band-Aid on a broken leg.
Exactly. They think it's just that simple.
I will say this though. I did have a situation where man up actually did work for me.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. So one of the heartbreaks, quote unquote, that I went through happened on my birthday one year. So I'm not going to say any names, but I was dating this girl. Head over heels in love with her, and she, like, it was like that weird period towards the end when it's like you feel like she's starting to phase out a little bit,
right?
But you don't want her to, and you're not sure. Are you still in?
Right.
And it happened to be my birthday.
Yeah.
So she threw this whole big elaborate surprise party for me on my birthday, and I'm thinking, oh, this is great. Things are, it's not over.
Yeah. And
then after everybody went out to dinner. My friends were all there. They surprised me. I said, all right, we're going back to so and so's house. We're gonna, continue the party there. She said, oh well, I'm gonna go out with my work friends. I was like, what do you? You threw me this birthday party. Where are you going?
What are you doing?
No, I don't think it's a good idea for me to go back. Like, excuse me? We mean. So here I am now. I was up on cloud 9 a minute ago, and now all of a
Boy.
sudden, whoa, he just completely pulled the rug out from under me.
Yeah.
So now we all go back to the house where the party's supposed to be going on, and I'm just like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
And I was sad, man. I was really
yeah,
sad.
of course. That's
You know?
that's terrible.
Like, that really hurt. And I'm like, why did you do all this if it was all for nothing? You didn't mean any of it. I'm like, just come, like, be with the group, like, be with, you did this for me, and
Right.
now you're not going to be with me. Either way. So I decided to grab the beer, and I just sat in another room in a chair by myself and just kind of, like, stared off into the middle distance and just kind of downed some drinks. So now my friends are like, all right, this isn't cool. Like, it's his party, and he's not even
Exactly.
here. So they would come in, like, one at a time and try to, like, bro, just, it's cool. Just come hang out with everybody. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm fine. Leave me alone. I'm good. One after the other. Everybody just come in one at a time, trying to, like, talk me out of it. And I wasn't having it.
Yeah.
Fucking Darren.
I was gonna say it had to be Darren.
It was fucking
It had to
Darren.
be Darren.
He walked in and he was just like, bro, like, you're going to let somebody else have this power over you that you can't even enjoy your own fucking birthday party? That you're going to sit here and sulk like a little baby because what? Because somebody doesn't want to be with you? And that's what, the end of your life?
Right.
Bro, he goes, fucking man up. And at that moment, like, something clicked. I'm like, it wasn't the man up part, I guess.
Right.
It was more everything that, came before it.
Right.
But it was like, yeah, you know what? I don't want somebody to have this power over me. Like, it's one thing to be vulnerable and put yourself out there,
Yep.
but I don't want to be the person that falls to pieces when someone else doesn't reciprocate my feelings.
No, you're absolutely right.
So it wasn't so much man up. It was more of like, stand up and, stand up for yourself. Have a little self-respect.
That's right.
It's fine to feel sad and be upset, but don't wear it on your sleeve like that. Like,
No,
don't let
don't.
everybody show you that you're so affected by what someone else is doing.
Right. Right.
And I don't think that that's necessarily a masculine thing, or
No.
I think that's a human thing. I think as an adult and as an individual,
Yeah.
I think everybody needs to do that.
No, absolutely.
And it was that talk. And I'll be honest with you, it was from that moment on, like, I made a lot of changes in my life because of that.
Yep.
A month and a half later, I moved out. I got my own place finally.
Yeah.
I went to work. I decided I was going to be serious about getting into shape.
Yeah.
I took ownership of my life, and it was a beautiful thing. So, I mean, I hate to I feel like I just completely cut across everything I just said about the whole man up thing.
See, I mean, that's what I'm saying. There are, it's what happens. Like I said, the red pill thing, while it's awful, there are elements that, I've experienced myself, and man up doesn't seem like a good thing. It sounds more like it's a masculine thing, and that's what men have to do. But that's a prime example, Darren was right. You just
Fucking
gotta
Darren, man.
sage wisdom from Darren.
Guy had such a way with words.
He
too.
really did. He really did. Did he do it in the accent? Because that's the only way that
Yeah,
if he did
no.
it, that.
No, he didn't. He was dead at. He was like Bradley
No, and
Gardner's Darren at that
Oh,
point.
okay. Yeah,
he got serious.
I've had plenty of conversations with him like that.
Yeah.
He's chock full of wisdom, and I really miss that kid.
I really do too. Like, I don't know. I don't even know if I ever told him that, how much that little, like, 90-second conversation, how much that actually impacted me.
But it did. It impacted you very much so.
Yeah.
I mean, that, even though, like you said, even though the phrase man up and what it potentially means nowadays, that was enough to show you what you needed to do. And it wasn't so much about being masculine. It was about just, finding yourself and pulling your shit together and, getting past that hurt, and that's what these guys aren't doing.
I think, when you really break it down further, I think it was also about, don't be the victim.
Exactly.
You're being a victim right now. You're letting someone.
It's your birthday, dude. You're sitting here in a room sulking. Every one of your friends has come in to try to get you out of this, and I mean, yeah, it was a shitty thing, I mean, that was the surprise element of your birthday.
Yeah.
Surprise, I'm not your girlfriend anymore.
Yeah.
Sorry.
A couple days later, she went to a New Year's Eve party with some other friends from, like, college, and then on, like, Facebook the next day is a picture of her, like, making out with some guy. I was like, well, I guess this is over.
Yeah, I think I knew who this was.
Yep. That one hurt too. Yeah, that one hurt. But hey, that's like I said, that's when I got into the gym.
Yeah.
That's when
And see, that's
breakups make bodybuilders.
breakups. Yeah.
That's a saying I love.
Yeah. I mean, that's just that inner anger. Not so much, obviously.
Well, it's
not
channeling that
Right.
that pain and anger.
not at women.
Yeah.
Just at that person
You're
and that
channeling it
situation, and you're
into
just
a productive way.
Exactly.
You're creating something out of the devastation.
Exactly.
So that seems really dramatic to say it like that.
But it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. I mean, you could turn to that, or you could do something awful and just hate women for the rest of your life, and then eventually swear them off and go gay. Or you could just better yourself and try to be a better man, not the kind of man that hates women because they're the higher power and they're trying to throw down men.
Yeah, because feminism is out there to
feminism. That's why feminism exists.
Masculine.
That's right. That's why. That is exactly why they created it. Because men are dogs and women are all powerful, and that's what they want, right?
Sounds a lot like victimhood to me.
Exactly. Guys, women are not here to take over the world. They're not here to emasculate us. At this point, they're our equals. Mm-hmm. I mean, they do great things. They hold the same position as men. I mean, we almost had a female president. Almost.
But it's not. Let's go back and say like women are equal. Like men and women are equal.
Pretty damn much.
Equal but different.
Equal, but yeah, absolutely. Yes, different. Yes.
Like we each can do things the other can't. Like the reason why
we can, and we can also do the same things.
Exactly.
And that's what a lot of men don't realize is that, they talk about the gender wage gap and stuff. And I mean, women.
The problem is that most of those stats don't take into account like the idea that a lot of women don't go into certain fields.
Sure, that is very true.
They work less hours because they're also counting women that are stay-at-home moms. So they're saying, "Oh, well, this woman doesn't make anything," so that brings down the whole average.
Exactly.
So those numbers are complicated.
Very skewed.
You just have to. It warrants further investigation. So for people that just throw out those numbers offhand, like just take a little time and really look into it.
Yeah.
Because it's actually illegal to pay two people a different amount for the same job, unless it's something where you're negotiating your own salary,
right?
In which case, there's entire books by women about stand up for yourself, demand what you're worth,
right?
Like
absolutely.
The book Lean In is all about that.
Yeah, very much.
Like women, if you're in that kind of position where you're negotiating your own salary,
right? Be
assertive.
Yeah,
like that's one of the things that would keep women from earning higher wages like men.
Yeah,
one of the things. Obviously, there are other factors. I don't want to just completely disregard that for anybody listening. I'm not. But men and women are different, but we can complement one another.
Yes, we can.
That's the idea. The yin and the yang.
Yes.
Okay, and there's all other.
We need them, and they need us.
Exactly.
As much as they don't like to believe so, because they're feminists, and we. Just kidding.
Listen,
kidding.
There's extremes on every side because some extreme feminists, I don't agree with. I can understand why people listening to that would get angered.
Sure.
It's like every time they I'm a pretty liberal guy.
Yeah.
But every time they show some like purple-haired psycho on TV, it's like, why do you bring this person on? Like because now they use that to delegitimize an entire side. Yeah. It's like it's that. What's the straw? It's not a straw man argument, but it's I don't know what the term is, but it's like taking the most extreme example of something and trying to paint an entire group out to be that
everything.
And every side does it.
Exactly.
Every side does it.
Exactly. Every group out there that you can possibly pinpoint, they will always take the worst possible example and show you that.
Yes.
I mean, yes, of course, there are feminists who do hate men, and using that word feminism, I mean, you hear that and you think that like, oh, they hate men.
It's become such a loaded term.
Exactly. But it's not the case. Not always the case.
It's not meant to be the case.
Sure.
In my understanding of the term.
Right.
And I think that most feminists would agree with that. If you
Right.
disagree, by all means, reach out. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes, we want to hear your side too.
Listen, this is all positive stuff.
That's right.
Like if you think we fucked something up, we
love you
completely
all.
misunderstand one of these topics, by all means, reach out to us. We want to hear from you.
We are not experts.
We are not. Yeah.
We are not experts on any of these topics.
I can't stress that enough.
Yes, we are just two men chatting about our views on what we think these topics.
This is a pod
are.
amongst men, not a pod amongst scientists.
That's right. That's right. It would be a completely different conversation if this was.
And the pun wouldn't even work.
That's right. Pod amongst, that doesn't work. Doesn't work.
So, what do you think we could do? Like, can you de-radicalize these guys? Like, how do you reach someone? Like, because I don't want it to come from a place of being preachy or trying to say,
Yeah.
oh, everything you're doing is fucked up and you need to listen to me.
Right.
Because, to be honest, you don't need to listen to me.
No, you don't have to listen to us at all.
I want to create a space, like, if you have grievances, you can air them, but you don't have to vilify entire groups because of it.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I'd like to think that it's possible to save people, but I'm sure that there are some people that are just too far from being saved. I mean, they
you're
get
right.
themselves into that solitude, that loneliness, and they find themselves into their own niche inside this world on the internet, and that's kind of where they'll stay. It's kind of hard to break that. I mean, just the average guy who might hear this podcast and have gone through something similar with heartbreak, and is thinking about like, oh, like nobody loves me, and it's all women's fault. Like, maybe just kind of hear us out.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there are going to be people who are unreachable. I would like to think that we could, not we personally, because that would be amazing if we could just change everything. Like, sorry, red pill, but it's over. We're pulling the plug on you. But I mean, even if it's just, a dude somewhere, living at home and in his basement, and he's just, sad because a girl broke his heart, 10 years ago, and he's just been living in this shell because of that heartbreak. I mean, dude, there's somebody out there for you. Just start working on yourself. Try to find a way to make you love yourself. Mm-hmm. Whatever that is. If you want to just go out and start lifting weights, or if you want to, learn something new, take up a language, and then all of a sudden now you're multilingual, and just do something.
All this is, you're putting yourself out there.
Exactly.
You put yourself in a position where you have an interest,
right? And
you're around people with a shared interest.
That's exactly what would happen.
So that's a great way to meet people. And a lot of times it takes the pressure off. You don't have to worry about walking up to a stranger in a bar or something like that. Because, listen, not everybody can do that.
No.
Like, I've done it several times in my life.
Yeah. But
it's not a common practice for me, and it never came easy.
Yeah.
So I gotten very lucky sometimes with it, and very unlucky sometimes with it. I just want to reach out to people who maybe feel alone.
Right.
Guys who feel like they've been scorned, they've been wronged,
yeah,
they've been used.
Yeah.
They've been treated like shit. That's not a reason to completely give up, to completely write off,
right,
the whole idea that you'll ever find happiness in a romantic relationship.
Right.
It's all part of the growth and evolution of a person.
It is. We all go through it. We all go through it. I mean, if you haven't been through it, you're very lucky.
I don't trust somebody who hasn't been through it.
You're right. You're right. Because I think you need that.
You do. And it goes back to what we said before about respecting that power that you have over someone.
Yep.
Like, real love is basically giving someone the power to destroy you.
Yes.
And just hoping that they won't use it.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
That's essentially what it is.
That's kind of what a relationship is. I mean, okay, things can be great, but there is always that. Mm-hmm. There is always that power. And it could happen at any time.
It could. And the problem is, if you spend your life just trying to avoid giving anybody that power,
right, you're
never going to have a meaningful relationship, because the real relationship comes when someone does have that power, and they do, they do respect it, and they try to care about you, and they do the right thing, and they try to really keep your interests in mind. Like, they don't want to hurt you. They want
Right.
to love you and help you grow as a person, and you want to do the same for them. That's where it happens, and it doesn't happen with the fucking walls up.
No, not at all.
And that's the scary part.
I know, it is scary.
It's fucking terrifying.
Like I said, we've both been there.
We've been there.
We've been there.
And
And
we're not we're not talking out of our ass.
Nope.
Like,
Definitely been there.
I completely understand why people, shy away from that, because it's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
And if it goes bad, it can really fucking hurt.
Yes. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it doesn't kill you.
no, it doesn't kill you.
You take those experiences and you find a way to grow from it.
Yeah.
It may not be right there on the surface. Like, some situations just seem really shitty, and it's like, I don't know where the silver lining is going to be in this pile of shit.
But it comes.
It'll find it.
There's peaks and there's valleys.
Yes.
There's always going to be a peak to that valley.
And it's the valleys that make the peaks really mean something.
That's right. They're that much taller.
Yeah. Man, I really hope that people don't, listen to this episode and just think like we're trying to trash, groups. Like,
No,
I don't want it to be like that. Like, there are guys that are out there doing the wrong thing and
Right.
being douchebags.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So,
And like I said, there are some aspects of what they're talking about that is meaningful to a man.
yeah.
But then there's a lot that's not.
Well, that's the thing. You get these actual nuggets of wisdom
Right.
that are surrounded by all this other negative shit.
Right. And like I said, there's a lot of groups out there who kind of take certain aspects. They're not necessarily specifically from Red Pill, but that are taking certain aspects of what, the teachings are, and then throwing in stuff that actually pertains to fatherhood, marriages, relationships, and, getting rid of that whole negative aspect of it, and there's a lot of havens out there for people to go to when, you've been through some shit. You don't have to go and go down the rabbit hole. Take the blue pill. Take the blue pill, wake up tomorrow and start going on Facebook or, wherever and find somewhere where you're going to learn the proper stuff on how to be a man.
I feel like the whole idea of red pill men and the ideology behind it is really just another type of blue pill. You're really just going to sleep in a different world.
Yeah, you are.
You're almost not accepting. It's like you're saying, oh, I want to accept the world I want to see what's really going on out there and see what's really, underneath the surface. But really what you're doing is you're joining a tribe of people who want to believe that it's not their fault.
Right.
So you're just going to sleep
You're just
in a
pulling,
different
exactly.
world.
So it's basically, it's just another blue pill, just hidden in guise of a red pill
with red paint on it.
Exactly. I mean, because it's like I don't want to say it's a land of make believe. There are people who believe that, but it's a completely nonsensical ideology. And I apologize to red pillars out there. We're not saying that you're wrong for your thoughts, but we just don't agree. Or I don't agree.
I don't agree with people being abusive. I don't agree
Not
with
at all.
people being vengeful against women. I don't agree with people trying to, make an entire gender inferior. That's what I was looking for. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Inferior.
Yeah.
Like, we can be equal. It doesn't have to be a power struggle all the time.
We can be equal. We can be equal. We can complement each other, like you said. Yin to the yang.
Maybe you guys want to call me a cuck or a simp or whatever the fuck, or a blue pill. I don't give a shit.
You're a cuck.
By all means, guys, just reach out.
Yes.
Like, it's all coming from a place of love.
Yes.
We have good intentions. We're not trying to put people down.
Yes.
But we want to call out the shitty behavior and try to make the best men we can make.
Exactly. That's all
we're
want.
We're worried about our own community of men.
Like, I have a son and I have a daughter, and I don't want my son to, obviously I'm not going to raise him that way, but I don't want him to fall into that, like he had his heart broken and now, it's all women. It's all because of them. And I also don't want my daughter to ever be demeaned. I don't want her to ever have to be made to feel inferior to a man just because he feels that women are inferior. And that's, men are entitled. We're not entitled to anything in this life except for death and taxes. That's it.
Ain't that the truth?
That's it. You're not entitled to anything. You have to earn things in life. And if you want, you're not entitled to just have sex with a woman.
That's
just
the
because.
thing. No, a woman doesn't owe you sex.
Not at all. Not at all. Even if she's your wife, she doesn't owe you sex.
Like, listen, that's just one of the unfortunate double standards. Well, not double standards, but that's one of the unfortunate privileges.
Yes.
Whereas women have a much easier time.
That's one of the things
Yeah.
that that goes along with that whole red pill.
They kind of
philosophy.
they pick and choose the suitors as they approach. Whereas men, we're forced to go out and hunt for our dinner, so to speak.
Right. Well, I mean,
And it's hard because
is.
there's not everybody's a good hunter when it comes to that.
and that's exactly it. It's
And-
not that they're. It's not that they're looking down on you because they're superior. It's just maybe you're not what they're looking for.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that they're superior to you, nor do they think that. It's just that they have a choice.
Yeah.
And you're just not their choice. That doesn't mean that they're awful. That doesn't mean that they're, the inferior race. I mean, sex because they're, trying to take over and they get to choose everything. No, that's not the case. I mean, they have a choice.
It's funny too because if you think about it, think the guys that are trying to pick up on, this woman, and say, three guys or this one guy is going after these women, all very pretty women, and the guy might be, average looking.
Sure.
So that guy might he's trying to pick up three different women,
Okay.
and he gets rejected all three times.
Okay.
He's thinking, man, like nobody wants to be with me, but he's ignoring the fact that there's another woman who may not be, as high up on the scale as these other three.
Sure.
Like you're writing off this woman who might want to be with you,
right?
And be very enthusiastic about being with you. It's like, well, no, I only want this. It's
exactly.
Like, well, so why is that okay? But it's not okay for women to say no, they don't want to be with you.
It's a double standard. I mean,
Exactly.
seriously, you can't. I mean, look, as a guy, if you're I hate to use the number scale, but if you're a 7, or no, let's say you're a 6. Let's say
We could use it. All right, listen, we're approaching the scale numbers from a place of good faith.
Yes, we are. Let's say you're a 6. Okay, so you're just slightly above average. If average was a 5,
Okay, average is a 5.
sure, why not? Let's call it average. Let's say you're a 6. The chances that you're going to be pulling in 10s,
Slim to none.
9s.
There's not that many 10s out there
right.
in real life.
No, that's very true. Although my wife is, I just to me.
As is mine.
So go good. Let's get that taken care of.
All women
She-
become a 10 when they get married.
That's right. There are 10s. Thank you.
I feel like we're saying this with a gun to our heads.
But I mean, you have to be realistic, And I mean, I understand, like you said about as a man, you notice a beautiful woman, but you have to be realistic.
Yes.
And a lot of these men, especially once they start with the pickup artist culture and stuff, they start thinking like, it doesn't matter. I'm a 4. I'm scoring 10s. Be realistic. You could see this 10 across the room or these 3 10s in the example that you're using and get shot down by them all, but you just missed the best 6 behind you. And she was probably
She might be a 6 physically, but, personality-wise, she's a fucking 12.
Exactly. You don't know just because you looked at her and she wasn't drop dead gorgeous. And that's a shame. It really is a shame. But
And,
like you said, it's the same as a woman just, denying you because
Like we're saying it's wrong for a guy to do that to a girl, but we agree it's wrong for women to do that to a guy.
Sure.
It's wrong for anybody.
Sure.
It's blanket. It goes across everybody.
Yes.
Like, don't do that. You want to be with somebody who's got a good personality, but
right.
I guess it's not really our place to tell people what they should
No,
want.
that's true.
So maybe
That's true.
We'll have to retract that
We're just
statement.
a couple of 6s with 10s. What can we do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck you, man. I like this one, man. This is a good one.
Yeah, I definitely like this one. This was a good topic.
Yeah. It's just it's tough because I feel like there's just so many people meet these kind of conversations with a lot of resistance.
Right.
They come into it with guns locked and loaded, ready to blast.
Yeah.
But it's like, let's just sit and put the weapons down. Let's just talk.
That's right.
And I know, like I said, I don't know any red pill guys in person.
Me neither.
At least that I'm aware of.
Right.
But I want to have a conversation about this because I feel like I keep running across it.
Right.
And I feel like sometimes people might, unwittingly lump my show in with that without actually realizing what it's about.
Right.
A pod amongst men. Oh, it's a bunch of fucking
Exactly.
bro talk.
Exactly.
Like,
This is part of the manosphere. This is where we are. This is all man stuff all the time. But
all
it's
man stuff.
That's right. That's your
Fucking go on
all
riverboat
man stuff.
gambling rides and make our own beef jerky.
That's right. That's what we're doing right now. We're whittling wood and drinking coffee.
Smoking
Smoking
cigars. Yeah, cigars hanging out by the cement pond. All right. So,
But no, yes, this podcast is not like that. This is, it's just a place for men to come and hear a male perspective about things, and even a woman's perspective.
Yeah.
I know that you've done episodes about, the woman perspective, and I mean so we're not, or you're not, we're not red
next
pill.
week is actually about men's style from a woman's point of view.
See? So I mean, we hear.
Hopefully it'll be helpful.
We hear every aspect here.
Yeah. But yeah, I just want to create a positive space for us to have this conversation.
Right, exactly.
And trust that we're all coming to it from a place of good intentions.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
I think that we did that. I don't think that we didn't really portray it in a terribly negative light, nor did we really say like you shouldn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, who are we to tell you what to think?
We can only speak from our own experience.
Exactly. Can I say that I agree with it? No. Am I saying that what you're doing is wrong?
If it becomes abusive, I can say that.
Sure, that's where we draw the
Yeah.
line. When it becomes too far, when it becomes violent, that's where I completely disagree with it.
Yeah. The violence, the bullying, the
Right.
harassment, that's the shit like fuck off, bro. Like,
Yeah.
that's not what a real man does.
No, not at all.
So that's where we draw the line.
Yes.
But all right. Listen, guys, if you are listening, you have anything you want to tell us, any stories you want to share, anything you want to call us out, you think we've completely missed the mark on, please reach out to us. You know where to find us at APodAmongstMen@gmail.com. All right? Or you can DM me on Instagram at APodAmongstMen. I want to hear from you guys because I want this to be an open conversation for everybody to take part in. So this is something I think is important in our community of men, our tribe of good men as we're trying to create it.
We try.
I think this is stuff that needs to be addressed, and it needs to be called out, and it needs to be spoken about.
Yes,
That's it.
I agree.
Will, you have anything, any parting words or anything you want to share?
No, just try to be better men.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for. We're here to be better men. We're not here to demean anybody. We're not here to put anybody down. Just try to be the best self that you can for yourself, and then for your family, for your wife, for your kids, whatever the case may be. That's the goal. Just be a better man.
Yeah. And this is, like we said before, this is us as men talking to men, trying to better each other.
Correct.
We're not trying to call out what women are doing.
Nope.
They have their own shows for that.
Yes, they
That's
do.
not what this is. All right, we're not creating a show for men where we just talk about, what women need to do.
That's right.
So let's fix ourselves before we start calling out everybody else.
That is right.
Because you know what they say about glass houses.
You can see through them.
Yeah, I think that was it.
Well.
Is that James Joyce?
Yeah, I think so.
Is that Faulkner?
Right? No, I forget who that was.
Yeah, right. People, we love you. You know where to find this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Pocket Casts, and on YouTube for the audio-only video.
Holy shit. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere, man. Anywhere you get your podcast, you can find this. And this one, I want to emphasize, share this one. If you think that what we talked about is something somebody needs to hear, share it. I want people to hear it. I want people to know that, we want to hear from them. We want to hear what you have to say. So put it out there. It would help a lot. And, hey, we love everybody.
We do. We love every one of you.
We love everyone. We're going to go
Regardless of what your
hug
thoughts
some
are.
trees.
That's right.
Gonna go eat
Kumbaya.
some soy.
Delicious.
Drinking my coffee with soy milk. All right.
Don't make fun of me.
Yeah, no, I'm fucking done with that. All right, we'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Later.